Soak dead soil in this $1 brew overnight. Watch microbes explode by morning. If your soil looks dead, feels dead, and grows plants like it's dead, the worst thing you can do is dump more fertilizer on it. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see gardeners make. They assume poor growth means a nutrient deficiency, when in reality the soil biology has collapsed. The nutrients might already be there, but without active microbes, your plants can't access them efficiently. The result is stunted growth, weak roots, poor yields, and soil that seems to get worse every season. One tool that has helped me catch these problems early is a soil monitoring meter that tracks moisture, temperature, and light conditions. A lot of gardeners think they're creating perfect conditions for microbes when they're actually keeping soil too dry or too cold. I use a 4-in-1 soil meter to check what's really happening below the surface. I'll leave the exact one I use in the description if you want to check it out. Now let's talk about the $1 brew that can wake up exhausted soil overnight. What most gardeners never realize about dead soil: when people say soil is dead, they're usually describing soil that has lost biological activity. The bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms that cycle nutrients have either declined dramatically or become dormant. This often happens after excessive synthetic fertilizer use, long dry periods, heavy tilling, or repeated seasons without adding organic matter. Here's the surprising part. Many of those microbes aren't gone. They're simply inactive. Give them the right food source, moisture level, and oxygen, and they can rebound much faster than most gardeners expect. The overnight brew that gets biology moving again. The simplest version uses ingredients that cost almost nothing. In a 5-gallon bucket, add 4 gallons of non-chlorinated water. Then mix in 2 tablespoons of unsulfured molasses and 1 cup of finished compost. That's it. The molasses provides a quick carbohydrate source that energizes bacteria. The compost introduces diverse microbial populations that begin multiplying as conditions improve. Let the mixture sit for 12 to 24 hours. Stir occasionally if you don't have an aquarium bubbler. If you do have one, even better. By morning, you'll often notice a slightly earthy smell. That's usually a sign that microbial activity has increased. But there's one mistake that ruins this entire process, and most tutorials never mention it. Why oxygen matters more than most gardeners think. Microbes need oxygen. If the brew becomes stagnant and anaerobic, you can encourage organisms that produce unpleasant compounds rather than beneficial soil biology. That's why I prefer keeping the mixture lightly aerated whenever possible. In raised beds, containers, and even hydroponic systems that use organic inputs, oxygen is one of the most overlooked factors affecting microbial performance. You can have plenty of nutrients present and still see disappointing growth because the biology isn't functioning efficiently. Here's how I actually apply it in real gardens. For raised beds, I apply roughly 1 gallon of the brew per 20 square feet of growing space. For containers, a light drench around the root zone is usually enough. A 1-gallon container might only need a cup or 2. For larger backyard vegetable gardens, I soak the soil surface in the evening and allow it to work overnight when temperatures are cooler and moisture loss is lower. The next morning, I avoid disturbing the soil. No digging. No aggressive cultivation. Let the microbes do their job. And this next step is what creates longer-lasting results. The secret is feeding the microbes after they wake up. Many gardeners stop after applying a microbial brew. That's a mistake. Once microbial populations begin increasing, they need a continuous food source. I like applying a thin layer of compost, shredded leaves, aged mulch, or partially decomposed plant material shortly afterward. Think of the brew as the wake-up call. The organic matter is breakfast. Without ongoing carbon sources, microbial populations can decline again quickly. This is why forests maintain incredible soil health without fertilizer. The biology is constantly fed by organic material falling onto the soil surface. Why fertilizer alone often disappoints. I'm going to be slightly controversial here. A lot of gardeners are spending too much money chasing fertilizer solutions for biological problems. I've tested beds where nutrient levels looked acceptable, yet plants struggled because soil life was weak. After focusing on moisture management, organic matter, and microbial activity, those same beds produced healthier roots, darker foliage, and noticeably better harvests. The goal isn't simply feeding plants. The goal is feeding the ecosystem that feeds the plants. What usually happens after a few weeks? Don't expect miracles by tomorrow afternoon. What you should watch for is gradual improvement. Soil often becomes easier to work. Water infiltration improves. Earthworm activity increases. plant growth becomes more consistent. In productive vegetable beds, I've seen noticeable differences within 2 to 4 weeks, especially in soils that were compacted, neglected, or heavily fertilized in previous seasons. That's when you start realizing the real power wasn't the molasses. It was restoring the biological engine that makes soil function properly. Healthy gardens are built from the soil upward, not from the fertilizer bag downward. Once you understand how microbes, moisture, organic matter, and plant roots work together, growing food becomes far more predictable and productive. If you enjoyed this kind of practical, science-backed gardening advice, subscribe to Farm Logic and share this video with another gardener who's struggling with tired soil. The more you understand what's happening underground, the better everything above ground performs.